3, 2, 1.
When it gets to the late season, and I'm including gun season, muzzleloader, and even late archery in that, you have some incredible opportunities. And the reason I think that is, in my experience, less than 1% of all hunting parcels actually have decent cover, quality food, and the most important ingredient, haven't been pressured. Even around in the hills in Wisconsin where we're at right now, there's a lot of parcels that are pushed, driven over Thanksgiving weekend, and that's great. I mean, people enjoy driving deer and have fun doing so, but their property's not going to be the same for 4, 5, 6 weeks. So you add that in, you add the guys that are just trying to go all out and find something during gun season, muzzleloader season, and really pushing the deer in to the whitetail and the way they view it. There's not much habitat left where they can actually call home and have a reclusive spot where they can be unpressured, have good food and good cover. And I think they'll even sacrifice the quality of the cover and a little bit, to some extent, the quality of the food if it's unpressured. Unpressured rules all. That's the number one point. And so when you're looking at hunting in the late season, if you can combine those ingredients, and it takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of willpower, but if you can do that, you can find some incredible hunting. The first ingredient is fall food. You have to have fall food. It does you no good if you have great soybeans in the summertime. They're eaten down, or brassicas, or clover, and they're eaten down, frosted out, or just basically gone by October. You have no food left. And neither do the deer. The deer that's the hard time, is November, December, not July, August. They have tons of food. In the Midwest, they have 5 times more food than they need during the summertime. You cannot affect their health and nutrition during the summertime. But when it gets to October, November, December, the food sources are lean, frost is killing out the local vegetation, and they need food. That is the time when they need it the most, from that until April. Really, really key kind. So you have to have fall food. Now, in the area we're at right now, we're in ag, and so in the ag fields, there's not much food left in November. It's all harvested. Even some of the fields are being plowed now in these days. So when the deer are going out to those ag fields at night, it's very deceiving. They're picking for little morsels of grain spread out every 20, 30, 50 feet, and though it's social, it's safe, they'll stay out there all night. But what I find when deer are in those ag fields, greens are incredible. So getting some greens, I like brassicas, oats, wheat, rye, even clover if it's high volume by that time, even late planted soybeans or winter peas, great greens that you can use to define the deer movement and hold them on your property. So quality fall food. But again, that food has to be unpressured, because it doesn't matter how good your food is. If it's pressured, the deer are going to live somewhere else. Even if they hit it at night, it doesn't really matter. If they're coming at 2, 3 in the morning and you have cameras in that food, it tells you that your food's pressured. So we find, and even going out with my boys and hunting this late season, we found that with that unpressured food, that we can count on having some incredible hunts. We can define the deer are going to be there. The trail cameras show us they're going to be there before dark. Pretty easy pickings, considering that very few other properties in the area are doing the same. Unpressured cover. Now, it doesn't have to be great cover. It just has to be cover that the deer can get out of the wind. It doesn't even necessarily have to be on a south-facing slope. That's a big myth. As long as they can get out of the wind, so maybe an east-facing slope, maybe even a north-facing draw with a point that comes down, wraps around, and then get behind. So some of our best bedding areas around here that I know actually face the north, just because of the position to food and the fact that they're unpressured. So you have to have unpressured cover. Doesn't matter if it's marginal, exceptional, has to be unpressured. And then you can count on that defined movement. At the same time, when you're going into your stands, if you go in there, let's say you have a 4-acre food plot system, and you have a tree stand right in the middle of it, and you go in and spook out the deer one time, well, that food plot's not going to be any good. You're at least going to push those mature bucks off the first night if you get in and out and you spook the deer getting in and out. Sure, you might shoot that deer one time, but we like to have a property that's working for us for a couple months during that time, or a month and a half. And so I don't want to spook those deer out the first time and then not have that mature buck come back for a month or even till the next season because I've spooked it out. So your access in and out of that stand has to be so that you can get in and out without spooking a deer on the food source that you're watching. Food sources are great in the late season, love them, but you have to get in and out without spooking the deer, or move your stand back or hunt somewhere else. The only options. Now, that being said, you have to have a hidden stand or blind location. Again, it does you no good if you, for example, where you've been hunting with the boys lately, if I have to get to that stand and then I go up a 15-foot scaffolding to get into the blind, then I'm spooking all those deer climbing up and down. Here, I made it to the back of the blind safely, or to that location. Now I have to climb up, climb down. Noise transfers more, they can see you easier, and you know, you're not going to gain anything for scent for being 10 feet up in the ground on the side of a, you know, food plot that we shoot 200 yards through. So being able to get in and out of your blind location, in and out of a tree stand, coming up behind a ridge, behind a screen wall of Egyptian wheat or shrubs or conifers, wherever it might be, a berm, but you have to get in and out without spooking deer. And finally, evening hunting is the prime time. So that means don't go out in the morning and take that chance of spooking deer that you might be hunting in the evening. So if I think they're bedding up in point A and they're traveling to point B for food, and then I can count on them being there at point B, that's the funnel where everything comes down to that food source in the evening, like where the boys were hunting these last couple weeks, and even myself, then I'm not going to risk that going up into the morning just to try to pinpoint one little backside bedding area, even if I can get in safe, because if I spook that deer herd that's coming into that, a lot of times there's a ripple and a domino effect where those deer are just clearing out the property. We're only hunting 40-acre properties. The location where the boys have been shooting the deer is actually 30 acres or less. So you can't afford to spook out great evening hunting opportunities in the morning. Not to say that you don't have a great morning hunt somewhere, but I'd make sure it doesn't relate in any way to where you're hunting in the evening. And if you combine all these 6 points, fall food, unpressured cover, low impact access, hidden stand and blind locations, and then taking advantage of that high quality evening hunt, you'll find a great deal of success in the late season in those opportunities where the rest of the habitat in the entire neighborhood has been pressured, most of them are lacking food, and most of them are lacking quality cover. Try it, it's awesome, one of my favorite times to hunt. It's when we've seen some of our biggest giants in the area during the late season.
So the deer were hitting the food plots pretty hard last night. There was about 11 or 12 in here last night, around 5 o'clock. It's the last day of muzzleloader, and I'm hoping to get something and have it come down here in the lower food plot so I can get a good shot at it and try to kill it. I'm looking for a more mature buck. Oh, there's some back there. In the lower food plot, or not like the lower food plot, but the top left.
I'm not sure which one. He's a half rack.
He's the half rack one.
Yeah, he might be that old half rack one. Like the mature one.
Oh, shoot him.
Oh yeah, he's a gray one.
There's another two.
He's a nice buck, Jake.
Do you think it is the one?
Which one?
The one that was on top?
Yeah, it is.
So it's that 3 or 4 year old.
Yeah. Okay, go very, very slow. Jake, what'd you just do?
I dropped him. Yes. I dropped him. Well, I just shot this buck at a pretty good distance we've had it on camera for a couple of years now. It's a 3 or 4 year old. Only has one side of the rack, and I know it's laying up there dead, and I've made a perfect shot on it, so let's go see it.
Kind of cool, you know, again, we talk about the food plots here, the deer coming out, and we're just not spooking them. We're sitting a long ways away watching them, but they're coming in every night. You know, I shot that buck about a week and a half ago, but other than that, we're not spooking them any day. And they just get used to coming in. Most of the areas around here are overpressured and they don't have a lot of good food. We have some decent cover here. We're only hunting 40 acres, so it's not like we're, you know, hunting a huge farm or something, but worked out really, really great tonight. And last day muzzleloader, last day you can use your gun tag, and real proud of you, and couldn't be happier being able to sit in the blind with you too.
What are we going for tonight, boys?
Those.
3, 2, 1.
Now, there's nothing that says hunting with the youth better than late season. Late season is an incredible opportunity to get the kids out if you have all those key ingredients, those 6 ingredients we talked about earlier. If those take place, then what an opportunity to go sit with your kids and enjoy some incredible hunts. The buck that Dante shot, that was his first buck. Being able to go into that property, completely unpressured property, just to show up. And I think within a couple hours that morning we had the hunt over. Dante had his buck, and you can see by his excitement and his fist pump when he's walking up to the deer. I mean, that was awesome. Great, great time. Jake's buck, that was a buck that hadn't grown its antler on the left side for a couple of years, and the neighbors even said 3 years. So, but either way, it was a mature buck, one that we wanted to harvest, and it was actually Jake's target buck. That was one that he really wanted. He saw posting he put on Facebook of would you pass or shoot this buck, and he wrote shoot right away, and he even told me about it. I didn't even know he was on there at the time. So, you know, great opportunity for us to just go in, sit next to Jake, have that buck in. Even during gun season, it was 7th day of Wisconsin, I shot a buck that I was after. And then finally going in and taking some does. I took the boys out. Dante ended up harvesting a really nice doe. And we still have more hunting to do. And so we're relying on those food plots and those late season food sources and late season movements to create not only buck harvest for specific bucks that we want or first time buck, but we're using those to actually accomplish our doe harvest goals, because we don't want to shoot any does in mid-October, late October, all of November, early December, because then we're just spooking out the herd. We're getting young buck shot on the neighbors. We want to keep that movement tight on our property. We only have 30 acres to work with. So now it's a great time to start harvesting our does. And my son Sam, who's 11, is coming out between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm really hoping for his first deer. He won't care what he shoots for. We're going to target a mature doe or any buck for him. But he'll be coming out. And so great time for the youth. Great time with Jake and Dante, who are 14 and 15 in the blinds. And, you know, memories to last a lifetime, late season whitetail hunting. That's what it's all about.